Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news. Hey, Browns fans, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into a story that's been making waves across the NFL landscape. It's about Deshaun Watson, the franchise quarterback who, despite all the controversy and setbacks, remains a pivotal piece of Cleveland's puzzle moving forward. But this season, his future is shrouded in uncertainty, and that uncertainty could have ripple effects across the entire AFC North division. So, what's the real story here? Will Watson return to action this year? How does this impact the Browns' plans? And what does it mean for the team's quest for another Super Bowl appearance? Well, let's unpack all of that, starting from the very beginning, because what's happening right now could redefine the Browns' trajectory for years to come. First off, let's talk about the injury that has cast a shadow over Watson's season, and frankly, over his entire tenure with Cleveland. It's a serious Achilles injury, one he initially suffered during Week 7 of the 2024 season in a game against the Cincinnati Bengals, a game that, in retrospect, turned out to be a pivotal moment for the Browns. Achilles injuries are no joke, especially for quarterbacks, and the recovery process is often long and unpredictable. Right now, the Browns have announced that Watson will begin this season on the reserve, physically unable to perform list, which means he's officially out for at least the first 4 games of the year. But more than that, it's the question of whether he'll be able to return at all this season that's really hanging in the air. The team's medical staff and coaching staff are carefully monitoring his rehab, and there's cautious optimism that he could be ready to resume practicing sometime in October. That's what some sources are hinting at, including insiders close to the Browns, who say that Watson might be cleared to start practicing around mid-October. But here's the catch. Even if he's medically cleared, the Browns will have a 5-week window to decide whether to activate him for practice. Once that window opens, they have a tight 21-day period to determine if he's ready to be put back on the 53-man roster and potentially to start playing again. So it's a game of wait and see, but there's definitely hope that Watson could be back on the field before the season ends. Now I want you to pause for a second here, just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Because that's a crucial point. The Browns are essentially weighing their options, and they're doing so in a way that could shape the franchise's future. The question is whether Watson will be able to return to his previous form after such a serious injury, especially considering the history of setbacks and struggles he's faced since arriving in Cleveland. Let's rewind a little and take a broader look at Deshaun Watson's journey with the Browns so far. It's been a roller coaster, to say the least. Cleveland traded an enormous package of draft picks, some say one of the biggest trades in recent NFL history, to land Watson in 2022. The Browns were desperate for a franchise quarterback, and they believed they had found their guy. They signed him to a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, a record-breaking deal that sent shockwaves through the league. But as we all know, things didn't go smoothly right from the start. Watson's off-field issues, including over 24 allegations of sexual misconduct, led to an 11-game suspension in 2022. That suspension was a huge distraction and cast a shadow over his arrival. On the field, Watson's performance has been inconsistent, to say the least. Since joining Cleveland, he's only played 19 games over 3 seasons, throwing for just over 300 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Last season, in 2024, he started 7 games, passing for 148 yards with 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but he never really found consistency, failing to surpass 200 yards in any game. His injury history is also a concern. A shoulder fracture in 2023 cut his season short, and now the Achilles injury could be a major hurdle for him to clear. And this leads us to a critical point. The Browns, despite their investment in Watson, seem to be taking a cautious approach. In March, team owner Jimmy Haslam publicly admitted that the acquisition of Watson was a swing and miss, acknowledging that their gamble didn't pay off as planned. "We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun," Haslam said at the league's annual meeting. "We thought we had the quarterback, we didn't. And we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him, so we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole." That statement alone reveals a lot about the franchise's mindset. Cleveland is well aware that their quarterback situation is far from settled, especially with the ongoing competition for the starting role in 2025. Looking ahead, the Browns are currently engaged in a quarterback battle that's quite fascinating. Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and rookies like Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are all in the mix. It's a competitive environment, and the team is trying to find stability while also keeping their options open. But what complicates things even more is the team's insurance policy against Watson's potential return. Cleveland has a contractual safeguard that could create some serious tension if Watson is deemed healthy enough to play, but the team prefers him not to. This insurance policy is essentially a financial safety net. If Watson is cleared to play, but Cleveland chooses to keep him sidelined, they can recover a significant portion of his guaranteed money and cap space. This situation has sparked a lot of debate among NFL analysts and fans alike. Some believe that the Browns are deliberately holding Watson back to manage their cap and roster flexibility, especially given the complexities surrounding his health and legal issues. Others think that if Watson shows he's fully recovered, Cleveland might face a dilemma. Do they activate him and risk disrupting the quarterback competition, or do they keep him on the sidelines to save cap space and avoid potential locker room tensions? Mike Florio, from Pro Football Talk, recently commented that this scenario could lead to a showdown between Watson and the franchise. If Watson gets a clean bill of health, Cleveland might be in a tough position. They'd either have to activate him, trade him, or release him. And that's a decision that could have long-term repercussions for the franchise. Meanwhile, Watson remains a visible presence at the Browns' facilities. Despite the uncertainty, he's been actively participating in team meetings, staying engaged during his rehab, and maintaining a professional attitude. That's a positive sign, showing that he's committed to returning and helping the team if given the chance. The Browns are also preparing for the future, making sure they are ready for all possibilities, whether Watson returns to the field or not. Now, what does all of this mean for the Browns' prospects in 2024 and beyond? Well, it's clear that the team's success hinges not only on the health of their quarterback, but also on how they manage the delicate balance between future investments and current roster stability. The Browns have a talented roster, with stars like Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and a solid defense, but their quarterback situation remains a question mark. The ongoing competition and the potential return of Watson make this season particularly intriguing. Fans are eager to see how it all unfolds, and many are wondering if Watson can overcome these hurdles and return to the elite level he once showed in Houston. The early signs are mixed. His performances this season have been underwhelming, and his injury recovery is still a work in progress. But if he manages to come back healthy, it could be a game-changer for Cleveland. Imagine a scenario where Watson is fully fit and motivated, leading the Browns to playoff success and perhaps even another shot at the Super Bowl. That's the dream, isn't it? But it's also a complex puzzle, with many moving pieces and uncertainties. And let's not forget the history of this franchise. Cleveland has been starving for a consistent, elite quarterback since the days of Bernie Kosar. They've tried different options, from Cody Kessler to Johnny Manziel, and more recently with Baker Mayfield and Baker's successor, Jacoby Brissett. But none have provided the stability and star power that Watson once demonstrated in Houston. The hope is that this Achilles injury isn't a career-defining setback, but rather a temporary obstacle that he can overcome with the right rehab and support. As we look ahead, the Browns are undoubtedly in a pivotal moment. The decisions they make regarding Watson's health and future could impact the franchise for years to come. Whether they decide to fully commit if he's healthy or take a more conservative approach, the stakes are incredibly high. The division is fierce, with the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers all vying for supremacy, and Cleveland needs every advantage they can get. A healthy Watson could tilt the scales, but if he's sidelined for too long or if his performance diminishes, the Browns will have to rely on their young guns and solid defense to keep pushing forward. In summary, Cleveland fans, this season is shaping up to be one of the most suspenseful in recent memory. Will Deshaun Watson return? Can he recapture his former greatness? And what will the Browns do if he's healthy but they decide to hold him out? All these questions are swirling around, and as more information comes out, we'll be here to break it all down for you. The AFC North is never dull, and this year might be no different. The Browns are at a crossroads, and their next moves could define their future for the next decade. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Do you believe Watson will return this season? Are you confident in the team's current quarterback options, or do you think the front office should be exploring other avenues? Let us know. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Cleveland Browns news. Thanks for watching, Browns Nation, keep the faith, and let's keep pushing forward together, because the best is yet to come.